with different implementations and modalities.
Yeah.
Like steel mace, steel clubs. I want to start doing more
That's
kettlebell
cool.
stuff.
Steel clubs look cool.
Oh, bro, they look so like.
Man.
I've been watching the videos, and we have some like Indian clubs at the gym, but I'm like, I feel like I'm traffic director, you know. And then I went online and like looked at some of the Indians, because you know it's Indian steel clubs, and they've got monster like pieces of wood carved out, and there'll be some like, he doesn't look fit at all, but it's like big upper body, you know, his shoulder that, because he's just like, and I'm sure these things are 40, 50, 60 pounds.
Man,
they're swinging around. So
that's crazy. There's got to be a lot of technique involved too, you know.
Yeah, but that's why I haven't pretended like I could coach that. Because I'd be in there going with the music.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think a big house is necessarily the way to go, but my wife and kids like it a lot. But the backyard, this is where it's at. Can I switch my camera around? Oh, here we go.
Yeah, you should be able to.
This is my off the back porch.
Dang. That's nice, bro.
Yeah, that's real nice.
I'd have to go on vacation for something like that.
So this is what I like about the house, is this backyard.
That's beautiful, man.
Because it's like we're in a forest, but we're in a neighborhood, you know? It's crazy.
Wow. How much land is that?
Your lot.
Yeah.
I think it's 1 1/4 or 1 3/4.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah. So like our front yard is bigger than my yard was at my last house.
Nice.
And the front yard's just like normal flat grass. So that's where we can kind of like play balls and shit.
Yeah.
I put up a rope swing last weekend. It's the best. You just can't beat a good old rope swing. And so we've been making every adult that comes to our house, we make them swing on the rope swing. And dude, it's a blast. It's so much fun. You guys would love it. It's like it takes you back to being a kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, when you guys come to Kentucky, y'all can stay with me and we'll rope swing.
Let's do it. Kentucky. I still don't know what I would go to Kentucky for. You know?
Yeah.
Other than hang out with you.
Bourbon.
So what is it? Yeah. What's there other than bourbon? Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely, I'm trying to think. So people come to Lexington for eating and drinking. So like bourbon, and you go to the places that make it, and you can do tours and that kind of stuff. Horses, that's a big driver. So coming up and doing like going to a horse race. That's not really my cup of tea personally, but people like to do it. It's, you know, it's an experience that you don't do a lot. And then, a lot of hiking. I would say that's Kentucky. We have some pretty beautiful hiking spots. But yeah, beyond that, I don't know. Oh, we have the biggest cave system definitely in America, and I believe it might be the world. Mammoth Cave.
What?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is, and so it's beautiful. I've gone into it many times, but there's, you know, different levels. Like you can go through the main cave part, which is like a couple hours. They take you on a tour. It's pretty cool. But parts of it are massive. Like you could fit many, many houses inside.
You know, I might be wrong here, but I'm remembering something. I think that if you look at like the missing persons of America,
yeah,
and you can track it to like there's a massive cave system in the area. Could be wrong.
Oh, that's interesting.
Sad. Side note.
But and then they have parts that are like, you know, put on a headlamp and you crawl and like stuff through the cave. So it just depends on your level that you want to do.
Yeah, no, that sounds terrible.
But I don't know. I don't think it's that different from visiting other parts of the US. It's definitely like a scenic type of place. I think that's why people come here to visit, because they want, like that deep green grass and like the full trees and that kind of thing. And then just to drink and eat. I think that's about it. That's what people do in Kentucky.
I think the green trees and the green grass that you just showed me, like that's like I don't have that here. You know what I mean? I can water my grass every day and it's brown as
Oh, I know, man. I lived in Texas for like 8 months or something, and I remember our grass was always dead. It was crazy.
Yeah. What were you doing in Texas for 8 months?
So I lived in northern Texas outside of Wichita Falls, and my dad was in the military, so that's why we were there.
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was a good time.
It's like an hour for me, hour and a half, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I asked Andreas, I'll ask you. You hear about UPW?
Did it get canceled?
No, UPW Dallas or something like that.
So now there's a UPW Dallas where there wasn't gonna be. Is that right or what?
Yeah, I just heard from somebody else that was posting, hey, they're looking for crew for UPW Dallas.
Ooh.
But I've also, like, somebody said, like, at that last one at UPW Dallas, Tony bought that arena. Like,
yeah, so I was talking to my brother, Daniel, because he's the head of security for the events now. And so I was, like talking to him about UPW. He said the one in Chicago was canceled. So I got to look that up and make sure. But it seems like he knows better than I do. And but he did tell me that there's one in Dallas in like August, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
And that's like that replaced it or something. And so I might be going to Dallas for UPW because I'm going to go to UPW. For me, it's like a must. Like I got to go every year. It's kind of like a recharge, offsets all the drugs I do. And no. And so yeah, if it's in Dallas, then I'm gonna probably come to Dallas and do it. But yeah, if you guys aren't going, you should totally crew.
I'm crewing.
It's a blast, man.
I'm crewing.
It's a blast. You're gonna get a similar experience out of crewing as attending.
When you crewed, what area did you crew?
I was an usher, so I helped people find their seats, which that wasn't the job I wanted originally. I can't remember what I wanted to do. I might have wanted to be like a mic runner. You guys remember the people who run around and give people mics? But I ended up being a crew or an usher, and it was a great job because you work hard for like the first couple hours of every day, helping people find their seats, and that kind of stuff. And you help out with the fire walk on the first day. But then after that, it's like you're just watching the event and attending the event. And like you're allowed to be up in there and do everything. I got to do like the Dickens and all that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
So, yeah, really cool.
I did door guard the year that I did it, and they were like, we need you to all stand out by the front doors. And we're like, we have security. Like, why do we need to be at the front doors?
Yeah.
Because, we were wanting to be on in the inside kind of so we could hear what was going on.
Exactly.
And they're like, nah, y'all are out here. I was like, this is not the worst experience. I got to know some people, but I didn't really get much Tony at that event. But
yeah, see, and that I think I want it to be like I'm going to an event when I crew a little bit,
Yeah.
And my brother went with me and my different brother-in-law, and he did, God, what the hell was his job called? I can't remember, but basically what he did is he would help like load and move equipment and stuff like that. And he had the most freedom out of any crew member that I talked to. And he got to be backstage, and like he took me backstage once, and I got to see like where Tony hangs out, and like they have like a celebrity hangout space back there and stuff. And it was pretty cool. So that might be a cool job. I just don't remember what it was called, but it was a lot of fun.
Some random guy told me, he was like, yeah, you could literally ask for anything. The guy asked for platinum door watch or whatever it was. And that's all he did was stand at the platinum door and get to know people. I was like, take it.
Yeah, that's
So, but yeah. So what else is going on? What's going on in your world, Andreas, Mr. I'm not talking at all?
Too much pressure. If you tell him to stop talking, he'll probably never stop.
No more talking, Andreas.
Yes.
I've actually been really stressed with work. So work has been pretty crazy. I've needed a real estate attorney for the first time in my 12 years.
Ooh, interesting.
Which is, can't talk about it. I'm joking. So basically I'm helping the seller owner financed. Seller didn't pay a couple of months. The person's he owner financed it through is being difficult and not giving the payoff because she's saying no, he's defaulted. I own the land now. It's like,
wow,
well, you got to go through the proper channels to repossess the land, and she was refusing to do anything. She was just sitting on her hands doing nothing, and so we had to get a real estate attorney involved, and so that's been taking up a lot of my time the last 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, that sounds pretty intense.
Other than that, I haven't really been doing much. I've been drinking more with quarantine.
As most have. I'm on the phone.
I don't work out. And that's about it. I don't have anything exciting. I've been golfing more. That's been cool.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
That's a workout, bro.
Yeah, for real.
So, yeah.
Get your little joint mobility in whenever you out there at the golf course. You know, just do a little stretching of the neck, a little circles. You know, maybe some.
I'm talking on the phone.
I'm working out now. You know what I mean? Well, hello.
Hey guys, nice to meet you.
That's hilarious.
Something funny about babies with.
Hi.
Say hi guys, nice to meet you, and I'll talk for you.
Hi guys, nice to meet you.
Hi.
That's
just move your mouth and I'll talk. Hi, I'm talking with my hand. I'm a great ventriloquist. I've been practicing this for years. You go to hell. Oh my gosh. I'm talking to Danny and Andres.
Oh, hi guys.
Hi guys.
I don't have any face. I hear your all's name so much. I have no idea what you look like. Why is he in a green?
Well, here I am.
He said, here I am.
That one's Danny.
I'm Danny.
This is Danny.
I see it has their name on it.
It's very true.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Touche. But yeah, it is interesting how different people handle quarantine differently. Me and Becca were just talking about how we are not good quarantiners. We're better humans when we have our routine of life, you know, and our quarantine routine involves much more alcohol and a lot more junky food. You know what I mean? It's but for us, we're back to normal routine now. Our business is open and restaurants are opening. I actually went to a restaurant yesterday. That was exciting. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
how was it? How is the things over there? Are they separating you guys? Because here in Houston, so me and Seven are actually looking at buying a house.
Yeah.
And we've been looking all over. One of the areas we're looking at is right in the center of Houston. And as we're driving around, everything is open and normal, and it's just people are it's just at full capacity.
Yeah.
Is it like that over there too?
A little bit. We're a little bit more behind you guys in Texas, is my understanding, as far as opening goes.
Okay.
But yes, now that most restaurants are opening up, they're busy and people are going out, and I think the people that don't want to be at a restaurant, they're just still at home, which is
right. Yeah.
which kind of makes sense, right? But it was definitely the case where they had to have a very restricted capacity in the restaurants. So, it's 1 out of every 3 tables you can sit at, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's other doing that here in Houston, but they
Texans don't give a damn. Texans, they don't care.
Not at all, man. Not at all. Like, I was talking to somebody who lives in San Francisco, and they're like, yeah, so you have to have a mask to go in the store. Everything's pretty much closed down. They just opened up curbside. I was like, people don't wear masks. Like, there's 600 people in line standing like this to go in a store.
And they're not wearing a mask. Yeah.
They're just like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, I'm going to mute this for a second. I'm about to do a blender, bulletproof coffee here.
Hey, that's me too, man. Yeah, like
and Danny, where are you at?
I'm in Abilene, man.
Abilene.
Yeah, middle of nowhere, dude. Like, I do want to get somewhere a little bit more people friendly.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with living out here. I love the people. I found great people working out. But at the same time, like, my kids are about to get older, and like, everybody that I've talked to that's went through the school systems in Abilene, like, it's a great place to raise your kid if you're an older person. But the kids that came through are like, yeah, everybody's really got a limited view of life because they haven't been anywhere. Like,
for sure. Yeah.
My homeboy down the street, we go like fishing or whatever, and that's great. But like, if we lived in Dallas or Houston or Austin, there would be like, me and Courtney would be hiking.
And I feel like you'd really like Austin.
Oh, Austin. That's why I'm really happy that we didn't move to Cali. Cause like, I'm like, oh, Austin's like down the road.
Yeah. I feel like you would really like Austin. Austin is super fun, super family friendly, and they've got good barbecue there.
Shockingly really good barbecue in Austin.
Yeah, they got like live music.
Man, I think I would like to live in Austin. It sounds like an amazing place.
Austin's pretty awesome. Every time we go there, I always tell somebody like, let's move here. But I don't know, we can't leave Houston.
I listened to a podcast like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was with the Zappos CEO. And Zappos is like this shoe company, right? Is that what they're called? Zappos?
Yeah.
And they're just this really cool, progressive kind of company. And apparently they had bought a strip of businesses, like a whole street of businesses the company had. And then they were building like their own kind of mini city within Austin on the street. And so they were leasing the businesses to companies that they would selectively choose. Like, okay, we like, this pizza shop because it like gets, the best pork locally sourced, blah, blah, blah. And then it's right next to their Zappos building. And so they ended up making like their own little community for the Zappos employees. And I was just like, damn, that's so cool.
That's
only in Austin. Only in Austin,
That's it. Yeah.
And the guy, the CFO, he's a multimillionaire, and he was like, yeah, part of what we put in was an Airstream trailer park. So it was like those old Airstream trailers. And he's like, yeah, I've been living in this Airstream for the past month, and like, that's how he was living, just living in an Airstream.
Man.
I was like, this guy's a baller. He's just building a mini city, living in an Airstream.
That's
banging bitches, just banging bitches daily,
When I get older, I want to do that whole Airstream and travel around the country thing, like cattywampering style.
Yes.
And I'm wondering how the kids need to be for that to work out well. Not older than 12, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. Because, you want them to be mature enough, but not like too old where they're just like, everything is boring, parents suck.
Yeah.
My parents, I was pretty fortunate, I think, that my parents traveled with us a decent amount and forced us like to really get into it. And since we did it so much, it was just really easy for us to hop in a car for a bunch of hours or to go somewhere and be in a cramped space, so that we could see the sights and those types of things. Yeah.
That's what somebody told me about the kids, you know, because right now the problem is driving from Abilene to Houston, where Courtney's family is. It's like 6 hours, 6.5 hours.
Yeah.
And, you know, you had kids in there. You got to stop every so often.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this when we first had kids, bro, but you stop and it's an hour.
Yes.
And I was we're quick. We're just going to hop out. We're going to hop out. No, never. So it's a 10-hour trip to get down in Houston.
You're
but
give
some
him
people.
NyQuil. That's the trick, man. Just
Oh, that's
NyQuil.
genius. That's genius.
That's
you could try the nighttime driving route, which is where you go at like bedtime. But man, that's tough too, because if you get there in the middle of the night and they wake up, then you're fucked. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like my dad used to be the wake up at 2 a.m., hit the road at 2 a.m. We're there by the sun up. I think that's the way I'm going to try to handle things.
And that's not bad, because like the kids are going to probably go back to sleep.
Right.
If you wake them up that early and start driving, they're just be like, you know, in no time. So that makes sense. We just did this past weekend, this last weekend, we did a 6-hour trip to go see my brother-in-law. And so, it was 4 kids up in the car driving, and it definitely, we stopped. We tried to only stop twice, but each stop was 30 minutes long. Yeah. And we did,
hate car seats, by the way.
What's that?
Yeah, I said, do all kids just hate car seats? Because my son, like, it takes him a little bit to, like, accept his fate. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
He's thrashing around and Texas, where her family's still at. It's for like a 5.5-hour drive, give or take. And so we've tried to time it either first thing in the morning, where he's like super groggy and he'll probably go back to sleep, or we'll leave it like 6 or 7 when he's going to bed and just get there super late. But other than that, you just got to crank up the music and act like you don't have a baby.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what you got to do. How old is he again?
He's a little over a year and a half. He's like 19.
Yeah. That's totally standard to be pissed off in a car if you're in a car seat for too long. I've got a 2-year-old, and she's still like in that car ride. She was breaking down at points for sure. Like that definitely happens. Yeah, but like you said, you just gotta crank up the music and be like, "This too shall pass," and ride it out.
Yeah.
While we're talking about this, how do y'all handle bedtime? So we did cry it out method, right? So they eventually go to sleep when you do that. But now we're like, they're almost 2. And I'm like, I don't want to listen to them cry for 20, 30 minutes before they decide to fall out.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Do y'all do anything in between to kind of sort of soothe a little bit?
So I feel like we did it wrong.
Just straight out the gate. It was whatever we did, it didn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's still like we're doing the same thing they did when he was born. Basically, my wife is still nursing. And so she goes up there, puts him to bed, he nurses a little bit, and he's good. And then I really don't do anything. And then there are times where she is not, she'll put him to bed or something like that, or I'll put him to bed. And then like he'll kind of fuss in the middle of the night, and she just goes up there, nurses him, he just goes back to bed without like fully waking up.
Yeah.
If I walk in there when he like just does his like little wake up and I try to like pat his butt, he's like, who the
That's funny.
It sounds like y'all did it the right way.
And so it's like I can't do it. I mean, it's good for me, but I feel terrible about it because I really don't do much.
You can't help at all. You're just
exactly.
Yeah, basically you're just around for your dick. That's about it. Otherwise, you have no purpose.
Yeah, and even that's overwhelming too. So it's like,
hey,
I got nothing,
bro. From my standpoint, be okay with that, because if the babies wake up in the middle of the night, I'm the one that goes in there, because my wife's like, they smell me, man. They know. They just know. They stay up. Like,
that's true, man. They smell that milk.
How do you do it, Mark? I feel like you have 4 kids. You gotta have some secret sauce.
Yeah. So I was really fortunate with my first kid. That I was scared to death, didn't know what I was doing. And some wise adults were like, here's a book that we used, and it was called Babywise. And I read it and implemented some parts of it. And it's called Babywise.
Okay.
and it actually has mini books. So it goes like Babywise, pre-toddler wise, toddler wise. There's like a teenage wise. So I've read many of these books as my kids have gotten older, because to me they're gold. And anyway, so we have sleep trained, I guess is a good way to describe it, all of our kids. And so our kids sleep through the night around like 8 to 10 weeks old is how we end up setting it up. And so when it comes to bedtime, we've been really fortunate that we've been on top of it and like kind of taking care of it when they were littler, more as a baby. Because as you know, Danny, once they're 2, they're strong and loud. Like it doesn't get easier. It really gets harder. You know, they get just stronger as they get older. And unfortunately, that's the case.
Oh, her cry now is like, she's like,
so
she
loud.
knows. She's like, ah!
Yes. Exactly. So it's, even though it's hard to do when they're a baby, it's better in the long run because they just get stronger. Children do, you know.
Well,
but
I'm gonna need to go read this book.
Yeah, but yeah, so we've got a really solid bedtime. You know, that is like one of the things that we have on lockdown. Whenever it comes to bed, it's just like time for bed. The kids go to bed, and that's it. There's no fussing or anything.
So is it like, hey, we go in there, we read them a story, we put them down, it's bedtime, buddy, and then we just
yep, and it's done. It's done. But it took, you know, whenever they were a baby at 8 weeks, 10 weeks old, so a couple months old, we were doing a similar type of thing where you put them down and they're going to cry for a little bit. But the way it worked, I would have to go back to the book because, you know, it's been like a year and a half since I did my last one. And the way it works is you put them down, you let them cry. They can cry for like 10 minutes, I think. And then you go back in and make sure there's nothing going on. And you can learn your kids' cries too, right? Like I was really good at knowing like, okay, that cry is like probably a poopy diaper or something like that. Whereas that cry is just bullshit.
Bro,
you know, that's just,
And 2, they're smart. I think my daughter now knows this is my poopy cry, and that's what I'm saying. It's like,
ooh,
it used to be like she'd cry, and I'd be like, that's poopy cry, let's go over there, change her. Now she does the same cry, and I'm like, I'll walk in there, and she's just like, and I'm like,
you just got punked. Yeah,
we're getting like a camera to put in there so we know like,
oh, that's not a bad idea.
Are you because they're about to switch over beds, dude. And that's kind of sort of where this is like, they're not going to cry it out for 30 minutes or whatever the time.
Right. They're just going to get up.
Yeah. And so my son, like, so I guess 2 days ago, like we started the whole, like in the process of putting them down. So read the book, put them in bed, like rub your tummy for a minute. Like it's literally like a minute. My son's like, oh, my daughter will go. And then as soon as you walk out of the room,
oh man.
So that's, I don't know if it's because you have 2 of them or what.
It is hard though. There's no question about it. Like, and it's not like I don't have problems still sometimes. Like stuff happens, you know, kids go through phases. But I think that, you know, the way that I think of it is that I would rather have my kids cry a little now to save them years of tears. Yeah. So like sometimes I do things, sometimes you got to do things that are hard as a parent. Like let's say you discipline your kid, they're crying. That's hard to do as a parent, right? It hurts you. You don't want to be the one that's causing pain. But I know that in the long run, by me correcting their behavior now, I'm going to save them years of tears. And like, that's what helps me through it and keeps me going is knowing, I might have, you know, had to spank you and you're crying, but I know that now you're not going to throw a fit and make yourself cry every time you want a piece of chocolate or something. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
That's my next question is like, what does discipline look like? Because like, I'm tired of telling them, no, get off the couch. No, get off the couch. And, you know, I'm in that conflicting state of, can I discipline with hitting you to teach you not to hit? So
That's true. Yeah. I think there's some good arguments against spanking for sure. I read a book before that was like, don't ever spank your kids, right? Because I think a big part of it was that concept of what are you actually teaching them. I think that you can discipline your kids without spanking. I spank my kids though. Yeah. I was spanked growing up, and it was effective. You know, and I don't feel like I was scarred from it. I don't have any like negative thoughts around it. I didn't like it for sure, but it also got me, you know, I could be wild at times as a kid, and I can't imagine that my parents could have controlled me without spanking me, you know. And so that's my view, but I don't think it's very common. I don't think people spank their kids very much these days. I don't think it's the way to go typically. But I think for me, just consistency. You know, it's like if I tell you no a couple times, the third time you're going to have to be corrected in some way, whether it be go to timeout, have a toy taken away, you know, spank, whatever it may be. And for me, you know, again, we kind of started younger. So like, I'm trying to think. So my 4-year-old daughter, as an example, you know, she hasn't been spanked in weeks, which means I haven't had to really correct her behavior in weeks. You know, I have an 11-year-old. She hasn't been spanked in probably 2 years. So it really shows like it's harder up front. There's a lot more effort. Like I have my 2-year-old daughter, I spank her. It's not crazy hard or anything. I think for her, just the act of being spanked, like even if it's just a little tap, to her it's like, oh no, I just got in trouble, and that's enough, you know, to make her be like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, Mark, I got a question for you. How young? So my kid's like 19 months, give or take, right? Yeah. There's no way of knowing the exact date. I don't think we're there yet with science-wise. Yeah. But at what age would you say it's like, okay, it's no longer being a baby, he needs to learn, you know? Because my wife, she does discipline him, but she also, I'm like, no, he can't do that. Like, well, she's like, he's working shit out. Like, you can't necessarily get mad at him. Like, he doesn't know exactly. So disciplining would be a waste, right? So at what age would you say that? And Danny, I mean, your kids are 2, right, Danny?
Yeah, it's a month or 2 older than yours. Yeah. So
okay. So they're not. Months. Oh, that's right. Yeah. So they're not.
So before Mark answers, like, that's kind of sort of my dilemma, because like my son, like he'll do stuff, you'll spank him, he knows he's in trouble, he cries. My daughter, you do something and she's like, ah.
Yeah. Oh, so true. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's great. So my son is a little different than my daughter's in that he's more like that, more like your daughter, where he's just, I could spank him and he's just like, that didn't hurt right in my face. You know what I mean? So he takes, you know, whenever I got to go a little more intense with him sometimes. Yeah. But I try to go away from being angry towards the kids, because I do feel like that can kind of hurt them in the long run, like yelling at them a bunch, and it makes them feel like shit, I think. That's my opinion. So don't spank in anger. Whenever you do, start doing it, Andres. But I think it's less about age and more about maturity. So if you feel like your child is pretty aware, which around 19 months, I think they're pretty smarter than, they can't talk great, but they can understand a lot. Yes. You know? And so I really think that's what you got to go off of. Like, will they understand if I put them in timeout, or if I give them a slap on their hand or a little spank on their butt? Will they understand why that happened?
Right, exactly.
And if the answer is yes, then I think it's time to start doing it. Because again, you don't have to be like spanking them all the time every day. It's just every once in a while. And the idea is that you're going to save them pain in the future.
Right. Yeah.
And that, you know, if there were a snake on the ground and you said, don't touch it, they need to know not to touch it. You know what I mean? And if they're going in the road and you say, come to me, they need to be able to come to you. That's how I view it for myself.
Yeah.
And so all these other times are just kind of practice. If they're not gonna have it come in contact with a snake a lot. But if I'm like, don't touch that cup, they need to not touch the cup. Like that's kind of the way it is. Just really simple.
A good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess another question is, if spanking doesn't work, is waterboarding too much, or do you think like is? No, I'm joking. But that is a good way of looking at it, because there's another. As we're looking at houses, another area we're looking at, completely random, is in the suburbs, way outside of downtown Houston. So my wife was sitting on the lawn, huge house, huge yard, and she was just letting my son just walk around. And that guy is quick. And as I'm on the phone on a work call in the car, and I'm just looking, thinking like, if he books it right now, she says stop, he's just going to keep booking it, and the street's right there. So that's a super good point about just like, if it's practice for when there's a dire situation.
Yeah.
Something I saw really cool in that was what you said about the anger part. That's what I had to switch, right? Like month 6, like they're 6 months old, they do something like, yes, sir, you're doing that to hurt me. And somewhere in there, I realized they're not doing this to hurt me. They're not doing this to like get at me. They're just living their life. And so like the discipline, like that, waiting just a half a second, because like there's sometimes my son will bite me and I'm just like straight, like, like a mosquito just bit me.
Oh yeah, straight up.
But like, if I can avoid that first, like, like there's something fresh that comes, you know what I mean? And sometimes, and that's why, like, I'm glad you said that, like, you still spank, because sometimes that's what comes to my mind. Like, this is something that, like, we continually are, like, fighting against. And this is something like biting. Like, we went to the park the other day and my son's, like, in some kid's face like this. And I'm like, it's COVID season, son. But
that's awesome.
How, like, that's the thing, is like, that's what I was afraid of, Andreas, is like, hey, we're walking outside. They decide, hey, the street looks really appetizing. And I'm like, sometimes I'll be like, no, I don't go in the street. They listen to me. Other times it's just like, who cares what you're saying?
Yeah. And they think it's a game or something. And then like, like runs even
more. You want to talk with us?
And that's what's important. We can let them. Is that part, is that they listen. I like that he said it's practice. It's all practice.
Right.
No reason to be upset. No reason to be frustrated. Just practice listening. So that's really cool. Thank you. God, dog, that's helpful.
Yeah, that's super helpful for sure. I'm gonna check out those books too.
Yeah. Well, hey, gentlemen, I am actually have some other things to do today. So I have to dip out here in just a second.
Oh, sad. Well, I enjoyed this. I think we should do it more, and I'm really not a late person. I know that now I have been late to 2 Danny things, specifically.
It's me.
Better. I don't know what it is. I
guess they don't have clocks in Kentucky, or
no.
I don't know.
No. I'm blaming the time zone thing still. That's my go-to blame. But I can't use that excuse. What?
You guys are Eastern?
Yeah, so we're just 1 hour difference.
1 hour, yeah.
That mountain time is goofy to me. That's the one I never account for. Like when I'm going, like somebody be like, I live in Colorado, be like, so West Coast time, right? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like even you guys, I just thought you were on West Coast time and I just skipped over mountain, like it didn't even matter.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should definitely do it again.
Yeah, for sure, man. Good seeing you guys.
How about we could do it like every 2 weeks?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, whatever.
Once a month or whatever. But
like, I can talk. I mean, how long have we been on here now? An hour.
Yeah.
An hour.
Like that.
Yeah. Well, I can do an hour every Saturday. But yeah, we don't have to make it hard. Just limp dick it.
Yeah, that's what like. It's easier to edit whenever it's limp dicked. So like, if we're serious, I have to find out this. Like, oh, we were so serious right there. Like right now, I think there's like 3 good parts. Like, there's a lot more than that, but there's 3 parts that I'm like, oh, like some other people would love to hear this conversation. Like the.
Oh yeah. I didn't even realize you meant for like an actual podcast. But yeah, I'm down. If you guys, I don't know what you want in a podcast, but like, we could structure it some.
I'd like to
Like,
talk. If we're gonna do a
topics.
podcast, I'd like it to be strictly JJ Walk podcasts. Is what I'd like to do. Which Danny, I didn't appreciate your on Instagram.
I assume you're talking about that Texan post for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, you need to change it up, man.
No, man, Cowboys. Are they even still in the league?
Yeah, man, we got all kinds of good people now. Whatever, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, we for sure got to get together more often. I miss you guys.
I mean, yeah, if y'all want to like make it official as to like how that works, and I don't care, but like the way I'm seeing it right now is like, let's have a good time, let's talk, and if there's something creative,
whatever comes up, comes up.
Then like I can edit it out. You know what I'm saying? And then we can put that together, and we can just put that somewhere.
Should I cuss less then? Should this be a less? Okay, no, just keep it going. Bro. Keep it real. That's good. I like it. Yeah, I like to say just fucking Smurfs. You know.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate y'all like stopping in, like giving me the good advice, and just and hanging out. It's fun.
Oh hell yeah, I love talking to y'all.
Yeah.
And for real though, if UPW Chicago is actually canceled, which it's on my to-do list to look that up and make sure, then I'll be at UPW Dallas, and we can maybe we could share an Airbnb.